Eliza Mateo paused outside the revolving doors of Preston, Lane and Waters and counted 3 steady breaths, her ritual for stepping onto hostile ground. The 50-story glass monolith dwarfed everything around it, shimmering like a glacier against the muggy Lagos dawn. Inside, marble floors reflected tungsten halos and a river of pinstriped associates already marching into battle. Her father's voice whispered from memory, "Keep your head high, Mija. No one can mop the sky." Pity he wasn't alive to see her march into the clouds. At the reception desk, a woman with lashes sharpened like sabers glanced from Eliza's resume to Eliza's thrift shop cardigan. "Facilities orientation is in the basement, dear." "I'm starting with the legal internship cohort," Eliza responded, diction polished to a balm. Eliza Mateo. A faint, pitying smile. "Oh. The diversity slot. Take the elevator to 19, someone will collect you." Elevator ride, chrome walls, ceiling cameras, the acrid tang of expensive cologne. Partners murmured behind her. "Man in navy, that must be Miguel the janitor's kid." Woman with pearls, thought nepotism only went upward. Ding. 19. The doors parted on a warren of glass-walled offices. Senior Associate Melissa Klein strode forward, scarlet stilettos, white silk blouse precisely the shade of contempt. "Welcome, interns." Her smile was the flash of a scalpel. "Some of you might make partner one day. Most of you will return to safer waters, state agencies, public defense." Her gaze landed on Eliza's scuffed flats. "Or perhaps the service sector." A subtle snicker rippled down the line of interns. Eliza raised her chin. "If merit's the metric, we'll see whose shoes end up on the highest floor." Bolder laughter this time, half amused, half shocked. Melissa's smile twitched, as if the prey had growled back. Strike one, Eliza thought. Good. Orientation blurred, non-disclosure forms, partner pep talks, a catered breakfast no one touched. Eliza memorized floor plans, copier codes, the rhythm of the firm's pulse. She caught whispers wherever she walked. Janitor's daughter. That blazer's older than my law degree. By lunchtime, seating in the cafe was claim-staked like gold. Eliza carried a Tupperware of rice and beans and headed to a lonely window table. Before she sat, Mark Ackend, a lanky intern with tortoiseshell glasses, offered a shy wave. "Room for one more?" "You're brave," she said, unfolding a napkin. He shrugged. "My mom ran our village market stall. I know the smell of snobbery." Melissa glided over. "Mark, partner Waters wants to chat about your Harvard Law Review note. Better not keep him waiting." Guilt flickered in Mark's eyes. Eliza spared him. "Go network. I'll survive." When he left, Melissa leaned close, voice silk over steel. "Trash doesn't belong at the table. Remember your place." Eliza. Eliza smiled sweetly. "On my way to the top, I'll send you a postcard." Melissa's eyes narrowed. The day's first storm cloud had formed. Tuesday. 7:12 a.m. The bullpen buzzed like a hive, caffeine and ambition dripped from every cubicle. Eliza arrived early, hoping to print a shareholder rights memo before the crush. Instead she found Jenna, the gossip queen, already at the machine, nails the color of anger tapping her phone. "Morning," Eliza offered. Jenna looked up, slow blinked. "Copy papers for work product only. Not fanfiction rags." "I'll wait." Eliza settled beside a fern and reviewed her notes. Hushed voices floated from the corridor. "Intern A, did you hear? The janitor's daughter tried clapping back at Melissa yesterday." Intern B, bold, considering her dad mopped these floors. Intern A, imagine reeking of bleach and thinking you can practice corporate law. Jenna laughed loud enough for Eliza to hear. Eliza slipped earbuds in, Spanish guitar soothing the simmer. Mid-morning the interns were herded to a discovery strategy session. Each handed a red legal pad. Melissa prowled between rows. Eliza, she purred, tell us the purpose of a Rule 26F conference. The parties meet to plan discovery, propose timelines, and discuss preservation of ESI. Impressive, Melissa said. And when do custodians, she paused, savoring the word, of evidence become culpable? Depends on whether they tamper with coffee, Eliza almost quipped. Instead, when they knowingly destroy or withhold relevant materials after a duty to preserve arises. A flicker of annoyance crossed Melissa's face. Across the aisle, Mark grinned encouragement. Later, in the ladies' room, Eliza washed chalk dust from her hands, old white bards had shed onto her notes. Jenna entered, phone held high. Smile for TikTok, janitor princess. Eliza dried her hands, totaled the calculus, humiliation now, triumph later. She looked at the phone lens and said in measured calm, keep recording. Evidence ages better than rumors. That night, on a group chat titled PLW Sharks, an altered gif of Eliza mopping a courtroom floor made the rounds. Eliza saw it only because Mark forwarded it with an apology. She muted the chat, opened a secure messaging app, and typed to Dario, Day 2, sharks circling. Supplies depleting. Dario typed back, hold the line, love. Weather forecast says storms coming. Wednesday dawned bruised purple, monsoon season brewing over Lagos Lagoon. Inside, the firm's climate remained perfectly chilled. At 10 a.m. sharp, Eliza sat in her cubicle refining citations for partner Dunn's crucial minority shareholder brief. Melissa approached carrying 2 cappuccinos like peace offerings. Thought you could use a pick-me-up, she sang. Eliza's instincts screamed, but refusing would feed gossip. She accepted with thanks and set the cup safely beside her keyboard. 5 minutes later Melissa reappeared, bumped the desk accidentally, and 90-degree foam cascaded over Eliza's notes, flash drive, and lap. Oops! Melissa gasped theatrically. Phones lifted, Jenna recorded. Hot liquid seeped through trousers, stinging thighs. Eliza inhaled through her nose, willed calm. Partner Dunn popped out of his office. Miss Mateo, that brief is due by close of business. His eyes flicked to the soaked pages. Please manage the setback. Melissa patted Eliza's shoulder with a tissue. Maybe your janitorial genes can summon a mop. Laughter erupted. Eliza stood, coffee dripping. I'll salvage the draft and bill my dry cleaning to your cost code, Ms. Klein. Gasps. Melissa's smile wilted. Mark rushed in with paper towels. I saw everything. HR needs to. Not yet, Eliza whispered, already rewriting paragraphs from memory. At 4:57 p.m. she slid a pristine brief onto Dunn's desk. He raised an eyebrow, grudgingly impressed. Afterwards, in the deserted copy room, Mark shook his head. Most people would have snapped. I'm not here to snap. She peeled coffee-stained slacks into a trash bag. I'm here to study their weapons. Her phone buzzed. Dinner tonight? Dario. She glanced at her reflection, hair frizzed by humidity, shirt blotched, and replied, rain check. Weapon inventory in progress. Thursday, 3 p.m. Riverview Conference B, intern innovation pitches, 10 minutes each. Eliza's docket tracker demo used AI to sequence discovery requests, shaving hours off billables. She'd coded the prototype after midnight for weeks. When her turn arrived, she connected the HDMI, screen blazing with sleek dashboards. This workflow could reduce research hours by 32%, saving clients. Partner Lyle Preston's phone rang. He cut her off. Hold that thought. Major client. He strode out. Melissa seized the moment. Next agenda item, please. She yanked Eliza's cable, the projection collapsed to black. Eliza swallowed disbelief. Mr. Preston asked me to. So email your slide deck, Melissa said, stacking papers. We're out of time. Jenna snorted, ironic, a janitor's kid trying to clean up inefficiency. Mark stood. She deserves her slot. Sit, Harvard. Melissa's voice cracked like a whip. Eliza stared at the dark screen, palms tingling. Humiliation tasted like pennies on her tongue. She gathered her laptop and left as laughter rippled behind her. In the corridor, Preston re-emerged. Apologies, Miss Mateo. Her voice remained steady. Send me the presentation. A flicker of respect warmed his eyes. And pencil Friday 9 a.m. I want a private walkthrough. Eliza nodded. Inside, something unclenched, some days survival counted as victory. That evening she visited the janitorial supply closet, her late father's kingdom. Dust motes danced in a single flickering bulb. She remembered him whistling rancheras, telling her that ceilings were just floors flipped upside down. She texted Dario, they cracked my calm. Is it time? Dario, your call. Whatever you need. Eliza stared at the mop sink, thinking of ceilings. One more strike, she typed back. Then thunder. Friday, dawn a smear of gray against high windows. Eliza arrived before sunrise for Preston's walkthrough. In the employee locker room she found her metal cubby ajar. Inside, taped to the mirror, glared a neon pink sticky note. Trash doesn't belong in boardrooms. Zoxo. Her pulse spiked. She peeled it off, folded it twice, slid it into her pocket. Jenna entered, spritzing perfume. Rough morning, Cinderella? Smell that? It's Power, limited edition. Eliza faced her in the mirror. Your name's not on the perfume, Jenna. You just rented the bottle. Jenna's eyes narrowed. Better rented glam than inherited grime. Eliza shut her locker softly. Grime washes off. Character stains deeper. She walked out before Jenna's retort formed. 9 a.m. Preston's office, wood-paneled, river vista. Melissa hovered, all smiles. Eliza demoed her docket tracker. Preston asked incisive questions, Eliza volleyed crisp replies. When she finished, he said, send IT your code. We'll pilot on the Camden merger. Melissa's mouth parted, but no sound emerged. In the hallway Dunn whispered, well played. But watch your back, Klein draws blood. I wear armor, Eliza answered. She returned to her cubicle to find her chair missing. A sticky note on the desk, janitor's stand, they don't SIT. A laugh echoed, Melissa, Jenna, 3 interns. Phones filming. Mark arrived lugging her chair. It was in the men's washroom. His gaze hardened. HR time. Not yet, Eliza said, glancing at security cameras, new models installed last month at her quiet urging. Evidence first. She opened an encrypted folder on her laptop, video feeds quietly routed to a private cloud. The compilation showed coffee sabotage, chair theft, whispered slurs. She added the locker note. The case file was nearly complete. Lunchtime. Eliza ate alone on the rooftop terrace. The city sprawled beneath like circuitry. She dialed Dario. It's me, she said. Raindrops began to tap stone. Yes, Corazon. His voice was warmth over the phone. 5 days. Enough patterns for a hostile workplace suit. And? I don't want damages. I want transformation. A beat of silence. Then the storm begins tonight. Send the car at 7, Eliza said, eyes on thunderheads rolling in from the Atlantic. And tell Hugo to call me what I've earned. Mrs. Cortez, Dario promised, pride silk-wrapped. She ended the call, tucked the final sticky note into her pocket notebook, and whispered to the rumbling sky, let them hear the thunder before they see the lightning. Far below, Melissa held court in the cafe, laughing too loudly. She didn't look up. She didn't see the clouds converging. And she had no idea that the janitor's daughter was about to flip the entire ceiling into a floor and make everyone else mop to stay standing. The office lights shifted to night mode, overhead fluorescents dimmed, exit signs bled red across vacant desks. Eliza saved the last billing entry and exhaled. Her docket tracker pilot had been greenlit, yet triumph tasted flat, the cruelty of the sticky notes still clung like spilled coffee. She gathered files for Monday, then slipped into the dusty supply closet her father once called it kingdom of invisible people. The mop bucket, the scuffed linoleum, the citrus scent of industrial soap, all echoes of Miguel Mateo. Eliza balanced on an overturned crate and let the day's composure drain into the hum of the aircon. Tears streaked down her cheeks, carving fresh channels through months of restraint. Eliza, whispering, "Papa, they think I'm dirt. Am I foolish for still wanting their respect?" Memory Miguel, in her mind, the baritone she missed. "We clean floors, Hija, so others can walk. But you will teach them to look down and thank the hands that shine the marble." Her phone vibrated. Dario, outside. Umbrella ready. She thumbed a reply, "I'm done pretending." Footsteps approached, she swallowed her sobs. Mark's voice floated in from the hall. "Eliza? You left your flash drive." She cracked the door. Mark held it like an offering. Behind him, Melissa's laugh echoed toward the elevators. "Mark, softly, they don't deserve your grace." "Eliza, they need a mirror more than my tears." Mark nodded, unsure what that meant. She thanked him, pocketed the drive, and emerged into the corridor, chin high, eyes still glossy but blazing. The lobby security guard raised the gate as she approached. Rain peppered the glass facade. Outside, a sleek black Maybach awaited at the curb. The driver stepped out and tipped his cap. "Good evening, Mrs. Cortez." Gasps issued from two paralegals huddled under the awning. Eliza ignored them, settled into hand-stitched leather, and let the city blur into neon streaks while the wipers beat a steady war drum on the windshield. Inside the quiet cocoon of the Maybach, chamomile steam curled from fine-boned china. Dario Cortez, casual in dark jeans and an untucked linen shirt, looked like a man who owned time itself. He studied Eliza's red-rimmed eyes, the dried coffee stains mottling her purse. "Scale of 1 to 10, how bad?" 20, but manageable, she answered, voice hoarse. "The dossier's complete. We have video, chat logs, physical notes. Enough for HR to implode." Dario's jaw tightened. "I'd rather their souls implode." Eliza shook her head. "We aren't here for revenge porn. I want systemic change. A thunderclap, not a bloodbath." He tapped his tablet. "Tomorrow the board finalizes a 17% equity sale. I've negotiated to buy the seller's entire block, plus an option on Preston's family trust." "That jumps you to majority?" 51.6. Eliza exhaled. "This started as reconnaissance. Buying them outright is nuclear. And still cleaner than court." Dario slid a folder across the console. Transfer contracts bore both of their signatures, pre-signed months earlier, just in case. Her initials, EMC, gleamed in foil. She stared at them. "Once we pull this trigger, there's no middle ground." Dario brushed a tear from her cheek. "Middle ground is just the low point between two peaks. You were never meant to live there." Lightning forked over the lagoon. Eliza pictured Melissa's smirk evaporating under fluorescent interrogation. She pictured custodians walking halls without fear. "I'll do it," she said, voice steady now. "But promise me we rebuild, not just scorch earth. On my name." He kissed her knuckles, warm reassurance against the storm's chill. They arrived at their Ikoyi penthouse. Marble floors, panoramic Atlantic views, worlds away from the mop water closets. Yet Eliza's first act was to kick off her heels and sit cross-legged on the rug, scribbling ethics policies on a yellow legal pad. Dario, teasing most people celebrate pending hostile takeovers with champagne. Eliza, champagne after the culture audit. He laughed, poured 2 flutes anyway, and the couple planned until dawn painted the lagoon silver. Saturday. Rain had rinsed Lagos clean. Dario dressed in sneakers, a faded tech conference hoodie, and a baseball cap, anonymity incarnate. Eliza chose a simple navy sheath and low heels. Hugo parked 2 blocks from the firm. The couple walked, sharing a battered umbrella like conspirators. Eliza, smiling, you look dangerously middle class. Dario, corporate camouflage. Rich people fear 2 things, audits and ordinary clothes. In the lobby, Melissa breezed past clutching a latte. She clocked Dario's box of documents. Deliveries to reception, she barked. Yes, ma'am, he answered, deadpan. At security, Eliza flashed her intern badge. The guard waved them through. Upstairs, Jenna greeted Dario with a thin smile. First door on the right, courier. Mark spotted Eliza. Everything okay? His eyes flicked to Dario. Better than okay, she said. He's my research assistant. Mark's brows arched, but he said nothing. In conference room A, Dario placed his nondescript box on the table. Inside, due diligence reports, shareholder role spreadsheets, whistleblower footage. He connected a secure mini-server to the network hub under the table. Green LED, sync complete. Eliza peeked into the corridor, no one noticed. Her phone pinged, a wire transfer confirmation from Banco de Madrid. The equity block was theirs. Heart hammering, she texted Dario, clock started. He replied with a single lightning bolt emoji. Monday, 8:30 a.m. weekly department huddle. Eliza's docket tracker pilot already shaved 3 billable hours off a weekend due diligence sprint, but whispers credited IT elves, not her. Melissa strode in, saw Dario seated quietly at the back, hoodie up, note-taking on a battered Chromebook. Who let delivery drivers into staff meetings, she quipped. Laughter snowballed. Eliza's pulse pounded, but she kept her face serene. Mid-meeting, partner Dunn praised the pilot results. Miss Mateo's tool could roll firm-wide. Melissa clapped slow. Admirable, if we trust spontaneous code from hobbyists. Eyes flicked to Dario, implying Eliza's sidekick. Dario raised his hand. System architecture questions? Happy to answer, pro bono. Pass, Melissa sneered. By noon, the whispers had mutated. Courier boy had become Eliza's new boyfriend. Interns giggled, partners ignored. Perfect. 1 p.m. email blast from the managing partner summoned all staff to boardroom C at 3 for an urgent ownership announcement. Panic pollinated the corridors. Jenna cornered Eliza at a copier. You know anything? Eliza's smile was Mona Lisa cryptic. Storms forecast. At 2:55, employees jostled into the walnut-paneled boardroom. Rain hammered windows again, a cosmic drumroll. Eliza sat beside Dario at the far end. Partners occupied the mahogany horseshoe, interns lined the walls. Managing partner Lyle Preston cleared his throat. Ladies and gentlemen, effective today, a controlling interest in Preston, Lane and Waters has transferred to Cortez Holdings. Jaws dropped. Cameras flashed. Jenna's hand flew to her mouth. Preston gestured. May I introduce our new majority shareholder, Mr. Dario Cortez. Dario pulled back his hood. Gasps fanned outward. Melissa went sheet white. Melissa, horse you're the delivery guy. Dario, mild sometimes. Depends on what needs delivering. He plugged in a flash drive. Screens lit with graphs, malpractice risk trending up, talent retention trending down, harassment claims buried. Next slide, security camera montages, Melissa's coffee sabotage, Jenna's locker note posting, chair theft. Dario's tone never rose. Culture is a company's operating system. Yours is malware. Partner done, flushed. This is unauthorized surveillance. Dario, installed under last month's security upgrade, approved unanimously by partners too busy to read the SLA. Snickers among interns, horror among brass. Dario clicked the final slide, an organogram with blank spaces. We have two paths, voluntary resignations with severance, or immediate terminations for cause. Silence fractured into shouts. Melissa stood, trembling. You can't humiliate us. Eliza rose smoothly. All eyes shifted. Humiliation is public mockery, spilled coffee, sticky notes. This is accountability. Her voice carried the weight of every insult endured. Decide which side of history sings your name. Thunder rattled the glass as security escorted two partners who chose termination rather than apology. The rest of the staff awaited their fate, eyes darting between Eliza and Dario. Eliza stepped forward, no podium, just presence. We're instituting a code of human dignity. First draft is on your tablets. Non-negotiable principles: 1. Zero tolerance for harassment. 2. Transparent promotion metrics. 3. Pro bono hours weighed equal to billable glory. Preston, still seated, rubbed his temples. Young lady, disruption this violent can sink a firm. Disruption saved it, Eliza countered. Your bleeding talent pipeline ends today. Melissa's voice cracked. You're an intern. Eliza clicked the organogram again. Her photo now labeled Chief Ethics and Innovation Officer, acting. Beneath it, an open field, internship cohort reevaluation pending. Mark's jaw dropped. Jenna's phone slipped from numb fingers. Eliza, gently positions will be earned, merit, not pedigree. Those who mocked servants will now serve integrity. Dario added, to ease the transition, 300 million Nigerian nairas earmarked for culture repair, counseling, bias training, whistleblower encryption. He gestured toward glass doors. Janitorial staff, pressed uniforms, eyes wide, filed in. At their head stood Mr. Egu, the senior custodian. Dario addressed him with a slight bow. Our first dignity consultants. They've navigated your corridors invisible for years. They know every leak in this roof. Mr. Egu spoke, voice rough with disbelief. We only ask to be seen. Eliza smiled. Starting today, every employee badge unlocks the same cafeteria, the same elevators, and the same respect. A slow clap began, Mark, then a trio of paralegals, then half the interns. Even skeptical Dunn joined. Melissa bolted for the exit. Security blocked her path. Option, they asked. She chose voluntary resignation with minimal severance, spine stiff but eyes glassy. Eliza watched her go, heart oddly light, no gloat, just closure. She turned back to the room. Tomorrow, the real work starts. For now, go home, rest, breathe. We rebuild at sunrise. The crowd dispersed, buzzing. Media vans already queued outside, rumors hissed across social channels. Dario squeezed Eliza's hand. You were a hurricane. She leaned into his shoulder. They'll test us. Let them. As they exited, janitors lined the hall like an honor guard. Mr. Egu saluted with his mop. Eliza saluted back with her tablet. Outside, dawn's first light seeped beneath retreating storm clouds. The skyscraper no longer looked like a glacier, it looked like a lighthouse. Eliza, softly Papa, the sky's been mopped. And somewhere in the hush before taxis honked and keyboards clacked, you could almost hear a broom handle tap in applause. The first Monday of the fiscal quarter dawned with a haze that turned the Lagos skyline the color of bruised lilac. Inside Preston, Lane and Waters the air smelled of desiccated carpet and cheap victory. Melissa Klein had spent the weekend preening about her new seat on the firm-wide hiring committee. At 7:38 a.m. a lanky man in scuffed Converse and a ratty gray hoodie ambled through the revolving doors. He carried a plain cardboard box, its lid bowed by the weight of whatever was inside. The receptionist, who wore more diamonds than a small mine, never looked up. Outside the elevator bank, junior associate Jenna tapped out a group chat update. Jenna, 7:39 a.m. LOL. Courier with a death wish just wandered past security. Hoodie smells like week-old suya. A string of laughing gifs followed. On the 19th floor, the intern bullpen erupted with chatter. The courier found an empty cubicle and plugged in a flash drive. Servers blinked awake, a silent, invisible handshake. Melissa clipped down the aisle. "Excuse me, FedEx, deliveries go to facilities." The man smiled. "No hurry. This package signs itself." Someone snickered. A junior yelled, "Need a map, bro?" Another joked, "Hope you validated parking, partners bill by the second." Laughter snowballed, feeding on collective unease masquerading as confidence. Eliza Mateo entered then, quiet, composed, a navy sheath hugging stubborn bruises from the week before. She froze when she saw the hoodie but forced her face neutral. "Melissa, loud enough for everyone. Eliza, your friend is lost. Please mop him back to ground level." Giggles ping-ponged. Eliza's gaze met the courier's. In his eyes danced an ocean of private jokes only they shared. She gave the barest nod. He unplugged the flash drive, slid it into his pocket, and ambled away, humming the chorus of "A change is gonna come." Melissa shook her head. Street singers these days. She had no idea her entire kingdom was already changing beneath her designer heels. At 10:57 a.m. every screen in the building pinged with a red banner. Mandatory all-hands meeting, boardroom C, 11 a.m. sharp. Partners thundered down corridors. Interns stumbled after them clutching iPads. No one noticed that the courier now wore a charcoal blazer and that concierge had exchanged his sneaker laces for leather Oxfords kept in Eliza's emergency drawer. Boardroom C's glass walls steamed with body heat. Rain began drumming the windows, another tropical tantrum on cue. Managing partner Lyle Preston cleared his throat. "An extraordinary event has occurred. As of 9 this morning, a controlling block of shares, 51.6%, has transferred to a single entity." Whispers detonated. Preston gestured to the stranger. "Colleagues, meet Mr. Dario Cortez, principal of Cortez Holdings." Silence shattered to gasps, someone's coffee cup clanged to the floor. Melissa's mouth unlatched. "That's impossible. He's the delivery guy." "Sometimes I deliver," Dario said, voice mild as chamomile. "Today I deliver context." He tapped a remote. Screens displayed the firm's logo, then a cascade of security camera clips. Melissa spilling cappuccino onto Eliza's keyboard. Jenna sliding a neon sticky note into Eliza's locker. A partner muttering charity hire while bumping Mark out of an elevator. The room vibrated with a collective intake of breath. Dario toggled to bar graphs, malpractice near misses, harassment complaints, attrition rates for non-elite school hires. Every metric trended crimson. "Culture is not a line item," he said. "It's the operating system. Your OS is corrupt." Preston swallowed hard. "Mr. Cortez, what do you propose?" "Reinstallation. Begins in 60 minutes. Melissa spat. "You think money gives you moral authority?" Dario's smile carried chilly patience. "Money gives me leverage. Authority will be rebuilt by those qualified to wield it." He turned to Eliza. "Care to introduce our new framework?" Eliza rose. A hush fell. She projected a single slide, Code of Human Dignity. "I was hired as an intern," she began, "but I have been an observer all my life, daughter of a janitor who polished these same halls. Preston's marble shines, its people do not. That ends today." For 10 minutes she laid out transparent promotion metrics, a whistleblower encryption channel, pro bono hour parity, plus a restitution fund for support staff long denied overtime. By the time she finished, even skeptics looked rattled but intrigued. All except Melissa, whose eyes blazed. "This sideshow's illegal," she hissed. "I'll have your visas revoked." Dario slid a sheaf of contracts onto the mahogany table. "Here are your options." 2 o'clock. Rain hammered harder. Security guards, newly briefed, flanked the boardroom doors. HR Director Amaka Cole read names from a clipboard, voice trembling but resolute. Melissa Klein. Jenna Adebayo. Senior Partner Felix Dunn. Each person had 2 choices: sign a voluntary resignation packet with 90-day benefits or contest termination for cause, armed with the video evidence they'd just watched. Nearly all chose the packet. Felix stomped out, face purple. Jenna wept, her mascara carved 2 black rivers down her cheeks. Melissa snatched the pen with a sneer. "Enjoy your little social justice carnival. In 6 months you'll be broke and begging the old guard back." Eliza met her gaze. "6 months ago you poured scalding coffee on my lap. Consider this a safety recall." Melissa slammed the document onto the table, turned on a heel, and discovered the firm had revoked elevator access. She had to walk down 19 flights, past every custodian she'd ever ignored. Rumor later said she cried all the way to street level. Inside the boardroom an eerie quiet settled. Amaka set down the clipboard. "We've reduced headcount by 14% in one afternoon. Which frees capital for the Dignity Fund," Eliza replied. "And teaches a lesson no seminar could." Preston exhaled. "You too could have gutted us. Instead you carved rot out of the bone." "We're not done carving," Dario said. "But necrosis stops here." Mark raised a timid hand. "What happens to, well, us?" Eliza smiled. "Merit review panel at dawn. Everyone starts from 0. Including me." Mark nodded, equal parts terror and excitement. Outside, thunder shattered the last of the storm. 3 days later the auditorium of the Nigerian Bar Association overflowed, reporters, junior lawyers, janitorial crews from 7 firms, even 2 Supreme Court justices in plain clothes. The event live-streamed to 53 countries. On stage Eliza adjusted the mic. Her navy suit was tailored but unflashy, a tiny enamel pin of a mop shone on her lapel, tribute to Miguel. "I stand here because a system mismeasured value," she began. "My father's job meant kneeling so others could stand tall. Today, we rewrite the tape measure." She told the story from chapter 1 forward, the whispered slurs, the spilled coffee, the sticky notes that cut deeper than paper. Cameras zoomed on audience faces, shock, rage, catharsis. She paused, letting silence marinade. Then she lifted a slim book. "This is the first edition of Preston's Code of Human Dignity. It fits in a jacket pocket because dignity should be easy to carry." Applause erupted. Hashtags trended within minutes, hashtag clean the boardroom, hashtag mop to top, hashtag dignity code. During Q&A a veteran cleaner asked, voice trembling, "How do we join?" Eliza stepped off the stage, handed him a copy. "You're already in." In the front row Dario watched, equal parts pride and awe. He leaned toward Preston seated beside him. "Told you she was the sharpest asset you never valued." Preston rubbed his forehead. "We were blind. Now you see." Day 30 of the new regime. Preston, Lane and Waters looked the same on the outside, same glass panes, same marble lobby, but inside, everything pulsed different. Bulletin boards displayed the pro bono leaderboard, interns at the top, partners chasing. HR installed quiet complaint kiosks near restrooms, anonymous touchscreens feeding straight to Eliza's office. Gone were private elevator keycards. Associates and cleaners now shared lifts, sparking awkward small talk that slowly turned genuine. Mr. Aga led weekly seeing the invisible tours where partners shadowed janitorial shifts for 2 hours. The first time Preston swabbed a restroom he muttered, "I bill $1,500 an hour," but by the end he tipped Mr. Aga his cufflinks and said thank you. Eliza spent dawn to dusk triaging culture shock. One intern confessed he'd mocked her gift last month. She assigned him to draft the firm's new anti-bullying policy. Another associate feared losing status. She paired him with Dario on a fintech task force, sink or swim in empathy. Financial analysts predicted disaster. Instead, revenue dipped only 4% the first quarter, then spiked 11% when 5 multinationals, citing the Dignity Code, shifted their legal work to Preston. Yet not all wounds healed. Jenna's lawsuit claiming emotional duress gained tabloid traction. Melissa opened a rival boutique firm dubbed Old School Law. Her first billboard read "No cancel culture, just winning." Eliza kept focus forward. One evening she unlocked her father's old closet. Inside, on a top shelf, she discovered his last pair of work gloves, leather-scarred, fingertips frayed. She framed them and hung them in the lobby beneath a brass plaque. "No work is beneath us. Only above our notice." Miguel Mateo. As staff filtered out that night they paused, read, and some touched the glass like pilgrims touching relics. In her office Eliza looked over budgets, wages up, lawsuits down. Dario entered carrying dinner, suya tacos and 2 bottles of Malta. Dario, celebrating small wins? Eliza, smiling measuring the new floor. "It's higher than the old ceiling." They clinked bottles. Downstairs Mr. Aga locked his janitor's cart and gazed at the plaque. For the first time in 35 years, he felt seen. Above him, lights in the boardroom glowed warm amber, the color of resurrection. Papers rustled, printers hummed, but the heartbeat of the place had changed. It sounded a lot like a mop gliding over marble, polishing not just stone but every story ever trod upon it. And somewhere, if one listened closely enough, one could hear the gentle click of a new era locking into place, the sound of dignity made structural, impossible to evict. The Harmattan winds had barely started blowing dust across Lagos when the first screenshots hit X, formerly Twitter. An unnamed junior associate, still bitter over the mass firings, emailed a 5-page rant to a blogger famous for corporate exposés. The subject line read, "The janitor's daughter is ruining our firm." Within hours the post exploded, 1.2 million views, 14,000 angry comments, and a viral hashtag #MopGirlGate. The letter painted Eliza as a power-hungry intern leveraging a billionaire husband to play Robin Hood. Dario was labeled a shadow oligarch, the Dignity Code a Marxist Trojan horse. Inside Preston's glass tower, phones buzzed like a hive kicked open. Reporters camped in the lobby, trolls spammed the firm's socials with mop and bucket emojis. The board demanded crisis containment. Eliza convened an emergency town hall. Every employee, from rain-slicked couriers to silk-tied partners, crowded the atrium. Floodlights from camera crews splashed through the windows, turning faces into chiaroscuro masks. She stepped to the podium, no teleprompter, no PR handler. "Truth doesn't hide behind lighting," she began, voice level. "Yes, I married the man now steering the ship. And yes, my father once scrubbed its decks. Those facts aren't scandals, they're chapters." Gasps fluttered through the crowd when she displayed the leak on a giant monitor, highlighting each anonymous accusation in pulsing red, but then overlaid footage of boardroom harassment and the fired employees signing severance deals. "Receipts," she said, clicking her remote. "Accountability is louder than rumor." Dario stood off to the side, arms folded. Reporters hurled questions. "Are you staging a corporate coup? Is the Dignity Code anti-capitalist?" Eliza answered everyone with data: attrition down 22%, new clients up 11%, malpractice incidents 0 since the reforms. The live stream trended worldwide. Hashtags shifted, from #MopGirlGate to #MopGirlGreat. By sundown, national news anchors were calling it a masterclass in transparent crisis leadership. Still, Eliza knew virality was fickle. She closed her laptop that night and whispered to Dario, "Storms fade, but ground can stay muddy. We need solid stone next." The first email arrived at 6:07. Subject, from Melissa. The once queen of stilettos wrote 4 stark sentences. I watched the town hall replay 10 times. I see now what I didn't. If there's any role, where I can rebuild trust, I'll take it. An hour later Jenna left a voicemail, voice shaking, asking for coffee to apologize, properly. By midday Eliza's inbox brimmed with mea culpas, partners, paralegals, even Felix Dunn, now unemployed and battling gout of the conscience. Some were contrite, others smelled of desperation. Eliza printed every letter, spread them across her office floor like contrition confetti, and invited the merit review panel, 5 employees elected by anonymous vote. Mr. Aga chaired, Mark took minutes, 2 associates and 1 receptionist rounded out the bench. They graded each plea on 3 scales: sincerity, restitution offered, and prior harm inflicted. Melissa arrived for her hearing wearing no makeup and sensible flats, like a costume change to signal rebirth. I humiliated colleagues. I harmed our brand, she said, voice raw. But I also won 51 civil litigations without a single sanctions order. I can teach the skills you now give interns. Mr. Agu asked the sharpest question, would you clean floors for 6 weeks to learn humility? Melissa inhaled, nostrils flaring, battle between pride and desire. Yes, she said, and didn't blink. The panel reinstated her, not as senior associate, but as litigation advisor, probationary, salary cut by half, mandatory janitorial rotation Mondays and Thursdays. She accepted. Felix's turn went poorly. He blamed woke optics for his downfall. The panel stamped rejected. That evening Eliza updated the forgiveness ledger, a shared spreadsheet visible firm-wide. Columns glowed green or red beside each ex-employee's name. Staff lingered around monitors, learning in real time that redemption was possible, but only through sweat, not tears alone. PR teams begged to publish a sanitized op-ed, Eliza refused. Instead, at 3 o'clock she brewed ginger tea, opened a blank document, and typed from the heart. By sunrise the article, The 7 Rules I Wish Every Workplace Lived By, hit Medium and LinkedIn Pulse. 1. Hire for character, train for skill. 2. Transparency over titles. 3. Rotate power seats frequently. 4. Listen to the quietest voice first. 5. Applaud the invisible work. 6. Document your dark corners. 7. Celebrate exits as lessons, not scandals. Her phone buzzed non-stop, TEDx Lagos invitation, Harvard Business Review request, a DM from Oprah's producer simply reading talk? The post clocked 2 million reads before lunch. CEOs printed it for Monday memos. A fintech startup in Nairobi painted Rule 5 on a lobby wall. But inside Preston, rules needed roots. Eliza ordered acrylic plaques engraved with each principle and had them mounted beside the elevators, eye level to anyone, be they partner or janitor. She launched weekly rule rotations, employees submitted microstories showing a rule in action, winners earned a platinum mop pin and an extra day of paid leave donated to a support staff pool. Dario watched the momentum with awe. You turned a personal survival manual into a global manifesto. Eliza shrugged, tired but glowing. Rules aren't enough without resources. She tapped a binder labeled Foundation Blueprint. Time to turn words into scholarships. The Miguel Mateo Foundation for Dignified Work launched in the firm's Sky Garden under fairy-lit palm fronds. Donors ranged from oil magnates to the Janitor'S Union, each given equal-sized nameplates on a copper sponsorship wall. Eliza unveiled the flagship initiative, the Invisible Intern Fellowship, full-ride law school scholarships and paid internships for children of domestic workers, street vendors, security guards. Talent is universal, she said, opportunity isn't, yet. A hush fell as she clicked to the first fellow's profile, Zuwaira Sani, daughter of a bus conductor from Kano, LSAT score 174. Cameras flashed. Zuwaira's father wiped tears no handkerchief could catch. Dario pledged 2 billion Nigerian nairas matching funds. Mark donated his entire signing bonus from a tech client IPO. Even Melissa, still on probation, contributed a year of her scaled-down salary. Media coverage painted the foundation as the anti-elitist blueprint. Universities requested toolkits. Governments asked for consulting. But big money attracts big questions. A coalition of rival firms filed a complaint alleging self-dealing, claiming Preston funneled charity funds to pad its own talent pipeline. The Lagos Corporate Ethics Commission opened a probe. Eliza faced the investigation head-on, granting auditors full API access to donation ledgers and board minutes. 2 weeks later the commission cleared them, praising unprecedented transparency. Rival firms' stock tickers dipped half a point. That night, on the rooftop overlooking the Atlantic, Eliza and Dario clinked sparkling water flutes. "We're scaling the mop," he joked. She laughed. Not a bad logo, a mop reaching the moon. Below, the copper wall glowed, names reflecting city lights, proof that dignity, once planted, could fund entire forests. 1 year to the day after Eliza first walked into Preston as the ridiculed janitor's daughter, the partners gathered for an anniversary summit. Gone were the hush-hush mahogany intimidations, sunlight flooded through newly detinted windows, and portraits of founding fathers had been replaced by photo essays of back-office heroes. Eliza entered wearing an emerald suit, the color her father said signified new life. She took the head chair, once reserved for Lyle Preston, who now sat contentedly 2 seats down. A gavel engraved with dignity lay before her. "Madam CEO," Mark announced, and the room applauded. Eliza hadn't needed a vote, stakeholders insisted she steer the ship she'd salvaged. Revenue up 18% year-over-year, employee satisfaction surveys topping 92%, and 3 Fortune 100 companies citing the Dignity Code as reason for switching counsel. Agenda Item 1, expansion to Abuja and Accra with mirror-image dignity frameworks. Item 2, adopting a 4-day workweek pilot. Item 3, electing 2 support staff representatives to the board, global legal precedent. Votes passed unanimously. A commotion at the door. Security stepped aside for a frail woman in a well-pressed cleaner's uniform, Mrs. Ramatu, who had dusted statues since the firm's founding. She carried a wooden box tied with ribbon. "Mrs. Ramatu asked to present something," Mr. Aga said. She set the box before Eliza and untied the ribbon. Inside lay Miguel Mateo's original brass name badge, M. Mateo, custodial supervisor. A note in delicate cursive read, "He said one day this badge would open every door." Eliza's throat tightened. She pinned the badge beside her lapel mop pin, blinked away tears, and addressed the board. Doors opened. "Now let's keep them that way." They adjourned to the rooftop where a jazz trio played. Melissa, mop pin gleaming, handed Eliza a champagne flute. "Thank you for giving me work worth more than winning." Eliza raised her glass toward the skyline. Neon towers blinked, traffic roared, and in the reflected glow of a city forever hustling, the glass walls of Preston, Lane and Waters no longer looked like barriers. They looked like lenses, magnifying every story, every voice, whether whispered from a mop closet or spoken from a boardroom throne. As fireworks from a nearby festival burst over the lagoon, Dario slipped an arm around Eliza. "Full circle," he murmured. She smiled, badge warm against her heart, and corrected him gently, "No, love, spiral." Circles return to where they began. Spirals rise. Above them, sparks painted the night in arcs of gold, the shape, perhaps, of a mop swing made enormous against the heavens, scrubbing the very sky clean for whoever dared dream next. The end.